Ever wonder what happens to someone when they stop talking? I'm not talking about just being quiet in a conversation, but those times when we withdraw completely, when silence takes over like a heavy fog. For some, it's a peaceful retreat, a moment of clarity. For others, it's the beginning of something darker, something they won't show the world. In a world that constantly demands more of us, more energy, more smiles, more interaction, we can easily lose ourselves. And when we pull back, when we go silent, people start to wonder. But here's the twist, that silence is often the mask for a mental breakdown they're not ready to face, let alone share. This isn't a story of someone giving up. It's about the quiet storm brewing beneath the surface. We're so caught up in external expectations, what we should do, what we should say, that we forget to check in with ourselves. Stoicism teaches us to look inward, to focus on what we can control. But what happens when we forget to listen to our own needs, to our own minds? That's when the breakdown begins. It doesn't happen overnight. It's subtle at first. Maybe you start feeling like everything's too much, but you keep pushing through, thinking you'll catch up later. The world won't stop moving, so why should you? But eventually, the weight of it all catches up with you, and silence becomes a way to hide from it. You don't want to face what's bubbling up, so you retreat. But here's the thing. It's in that silence that you may finally realize what's truly eating away at you. Let that sink in for a moment. When you go silent, you're not just retreating from the world. You might just be trying to hide from your own mind. So, what do you do when you reach that breaking point? How do you reclaim peace when everything feels like it's falling apart? Let's talk about it. It's easy to think silence is just about needing space, right? We all need our moments of quiet, a pause to recharge. But when silence becomes your only refuge, it's a sign that something deeper is at play. The Stoics would say that we need to practice self-awareness, to check our thoughts and emotions before they take over. But how many of us actually take the time to do that? We get so caught up in reacting to everything around us that we forget to pause and reflect. What happens when that reflection turns inward? When you start feeling like you've lost control over your emotions, over your thoughts, or even over your direction in life, that's when silence becomes a hiding place, a way to avoid dealing with the storm inside. And here's the tricky part. No one really notices at first. The world keeps turning, and you keep pretending to keep up. But each day you stay silent, the storm inside only grows stronger. You may look fine on the outside, still managing to smile when needed, still keeping up with obligations, but internally, you're holding it all in. This is where Stoic wisdom can help. Marcus Aurelius wrote about focusing on the things we can control, and the first thing we must control is our own mind. If we don't, it spirals, leading us to feel lost in the chaos. We need to stop looking at silence as an escape and start viewing it as an opportunity to dig deeper, to explore what's truly going on in our minds. It's not easy, and it's not something that happens overnight. But when you allow yourself to truly listen, you begin to understand what's causing that mental breakdown, what's triggering the silence, the retreat. Only then can you move toward healing, toward regaining control. Next time silence falls over you, don't just hide. Use it to find clarity. Reconnect with what you can control, and take your first step out of that mental storm. The problem with ignoring what's happening inside your mind is that it doesn't stay quiet forever. Like a dam holding back water, eventually something has to give. You may try to keep it all together, but the longer you hold on to it, the harder it becomes to ignore. This is where Stoic philosophy really shines, especially when it comes to embracing discomfort. The Stoics didn't shy away from hardship. They leaned into it, knowing that growth comes from facing challenges head-on. When you go silent, it's often because you feel like you're losing control, or perhaps you're overwhelmed by emotions that seem too big to handle. But instead of avoiding them, the Stoics would suggest you confront them with clarity and composure. They believe that in every challenge there's an opportunity to grow stronger. And that's the key. Growth. The storm inside, the one that you're hiding from, isn't something that just needs to be fixed. It's something that needs to be understood. Stoicism teaches us that we don't control what happens to us, but we do control how we respond. So, if your mind is spiraling, the first thing you can control is your reaction to it. It's not easy, though. The tendency is to shut down, to stay silent, to push everything aside until the pressure becomes unbearable. But each moment you spend in silence, you also lose the opportunity to actively engage with your thoughts. Instead of avoiding them, ask yourself, what am I truly avoiding? What do I need to address here? This is where the practice of mindfulness comes into play. It's about being present with yourself, observing without judgment, and allowing your mind to process what's happening without letting it control you. This isn't about solving everything all at once. It's about taking small steps toward reclaiming peace. And the more you confront these thoughts, the more you'll realize that you can actually control your response to them. The breakdown becomes a breakthrough, a turning point where silence is no longer a hiding place, but a tool for understanding and growth. When you start to look at silence this way, you realize that the breakdown isn't the end of the road. It's just the beginning of your journey back to yourself. And as difficult as it may be, it's worth taking that first step. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that silence means giving up or losing control. But silence can actually be the moment of greatest clarity if we allow it to be. Think about it. In moments of stillness, you're not forced to react. You're not pretending to be something you're not, to hold everything together. It's in these pauses where the mind can begin to breathe and untangle the mess we've allowed to build up over time. The Stoics were masters of turning every challenge into an opportunity for growth. They understood that life doesn't wait for us to be ready. The world keeps moving, and it will push us, sometimes relentlessly, but we can decide how we respond. In that silence, instead of sinking deeper into the fear of breaking down, consider it a chance to reconnect with what's most important. What's within your control right now? How can you use this time to reflect, not to retreat? The path to healing begins when we acknowledge what's going on inside, even if it's uncomfortable. You don't have to have it all figured out right away, and you certainly don't have to do it alone. Reach out, whether it's to a friend, a therapist, or simply by journaling your thoughts. Stoicism teaches us that we are not islands. We need connection, even when we're struggling to find our own way. There's power in accepting that we don't have to be perfect, and we don't have to constantly prove ourselves to others. That pressure is often what drives us to silence in the first place. But here's a simple truth. No one expects you to have it all figured out. The quiet isn't a place to hide. It's a place to breathe, to listen, to get real with yourself. It's in that silence where you find the strength to rebuild. So, the next time you feel yourself pulling back, don't let that be a sign of defeat. Let it be your reminder to check in, to take a moment, and to give yourself the grace to be human. You're not broken, you're just finding your way. The silence you're hiding in doesn't have to be the end of the story. It can be the turning point. It's easy to see silence as a retreat, but it can just as easily be a space for growth, clarity, and understanding. The Stoics remind us that it's not the events that define us, but our responses to them. So when you go silent, don't think of it as running away. Instead, view it as a moment to reconnect, to reflect, and to realign yourself with what truly matters. The breakdowns, the moments of feeling lost, the silence that feels like an unbearable weight. These are part of the human experience, but they don't define you. You are not the storm inside you. You are the calm that can rise from it. With every challenge you face, you have the opportunity to choose how you respond, to find strength in the discomfort, and to grow from it. So, when the world feels too heavy, and silence feels like your only refuge, don't hide away from yourself. Embrace the quiet. Use it to understand what's really happening beneath the surface. And then, take one step forward, knowing that you are capable of navigating the storm and coming out stronger on the other side. Day by day, you reclaim peace, you reclaim control, and you reclaim the best version of yourself. It all starts with you, and it all starts now.